Are you a fragrance girl? Do you love a certain fragrance? Do you have that signature scent? Or do you like have a wardrobe of scents? It depends on your mood and the occasion. Or do you like to try new scents and you're always looking for something new? Well, my name is Beth Eilers, independent beauty consultant with Mary Kay, and I'm here with Beauty with Beth, where I assist you in finding and enhancing your true beauty that shines. And today we're going to talk about fragrance. It is something that I think most people like, that most people, we like to smell good, right? We want to smell good. I know that there are some people that do have allergies to fragrances, and some things are, some people can't wear them or can't wear very much of them. And so there are a lot of things that play into finding the fragrance for you. But I'm going to talk about some things that you can do to help enhance your fragrance, to help it stay longer. And also, how do you pick the fragrances that you might like, and to look at the different notes in a fragrance, because most fragrances don't have just like one scent that makes up the fragrance. Most of them have top notes, middle notes, bottom notes. And so it's kind of how they work together that makes the scent. And so knowing that as well can help you figure out what fragrance is best for you or that you might want to try. So I'm going to share with you, first of all, some types of fragrances and then some tips for fragrance. So do you like more fruity fragrances? Are you a fruity, or do you like more floral? So fruity, of course, is like a citrus scent or, any fruit. Are you more of a floral, which could be so many different things with the different flowers? So a floral, an oriental, which is, more of that exotic, like, deeper, muskier type of fragrances. And then there's fruity florals, there's floral orientals, and so there's that combination. But there's different categories of fragrance. And so do you know, like, I like the what I call warm fragrances. That is not really the name for them, but like the sandalwood and the warm amber, the vanilla, like those kinds of fragrances. I love those. I like some citrus. I'm not real big on the fruity. A little bit of that. Depending on the flower, I love florals. And so knowing what scent you like, do you like, more, is it the flower, the florals that you really like, or do you like the fruity? So knowing that will help you figure out, okay, this fragrance would probably be something that I would like, because let's face it, when you see things online, when you see them in a store, very rarely do you get to test them. Sometimes you do, sometimes they're samples. And the other thing is, it's important to test it on yourself, to try it on yourself, because it does react different with everybody. And so what I love about Mary Kay products in general, and especially Mary Kay fragrances, is that everything is 100% satisfaction guaranteed. So if a fragrance sounds really good and you think it would be something that you would like, and you get it and you hate it, then it does, no problems. You just contact me, your consultant, and we will exchange it for one that will work for you. And so that's the beauty of Mary Kay fragrances. But know that when you're picking out fragrances in general, if you look for those fragrance scents as part of the fragrance that you like, you're going to have a better chance of you liking it. And if you know that when you put on citrus scents, if you got fruity scents and you put those on and you're like, okay, those don't really smell good on me, then okay, let's stay away from those when you're out looking for fragrances, when you're seeing them online, all of those things. So that's a different type of fragrances. And that will help you determine, okay, that might be something that would work for me. And then tips for your fragrance. First of all, you want to put it on dry, well moisturized skin. I think that's something that we tend to forget, that well moisturized, because if your skin is dry, then it's going to soak up all the fragrance and it's not going to last, and it's not going to, kind of washed out for people to smell. So you want to make sure your skin is well moisturized, that it is dry, but well moisturized. So make sure, body lotion, that you've got your skin well moisturized. So that's one tip. Let me know if you knew that. And then, of course, you want to apply the fragrance on your pulse points. And so that's anywhere where, you can really feel that pulse or that blood flow is close to the surface. So the wrist is probably the most popular one that most everybody knows. The neck, right here behind your ears is one. Inside elbow, that is one I always forget until I'm like, oh yeah, when I want to talk about it, the inside elbow, that's, I don't think, one that most of us think about. And so those are some places, and you want to, that's where you want to put your fragrance, because that pulse, that blood flow is going to warm that fragrance up, and it will hold it better, and it will make it last longer. So that's another tip. And then don't rub it in. I know growing up, I learned you squirt it and then you do this to your wrist, to try and get it. But actually, when you do that, when you rub it in, or even if you apply it, behind your ear and then you rub it in, that will actually decompose the scent, the scent particles, the things that make up the fragrance. It will, I don't think decompose was the right word, but it will break them down. That's what I meant. And so then the signature fragrance won't last as long. It won't be as strong because you've broken down the particles that make up the fragrance. And so you just want to spray it on there and leave it alone. You don't want to rub it in. And I know that was something I had to unlearn because I grew up going, how many of you grew up spritzing it and then rubbing it in, right? Let me know that in the comments. And so that's another tip for you as well. You can always spray your clothes if you want to. If you want the scent to be a little bit stronger, you can spray your clothes. Of course, you want to, test the fabric, make sure that it's good for that. And then you want to store your bottles in cool, dark places, if at all possible, like not in a closet, you don't have to, but a cool place, one that's not in the direct sunlight. You don't want the direct sunlight to be hitting it all the time. Also, you want to make sure it's in more of a climate controlled place. You don't want a lot of humidity and a lot of differences in temperature, very hot, very cold, those kinds of things. And so you want it to be somewhat regulated as much as possible. That will keep the fragrance, it will preserve it much longer, and it will last much longer. So those are some great tips to help your fragrance last longer. I would be curious to know which of those that you knew about, which of those that you do, and maybe one of them that you were like, oh, I shouldn't do that. I have been doing that. I would love to know that. Go ahead and put that in the comments. And I'm going to share with you the difference in women's fragrances as far as the concentration of the actual fragrance as opposed to the liquid of it. So you have Eau de Toilette is the scents, fragrances that have the least amount of the fragrance. And so they have more of the water, the alcohol, the things that make up, the liquid, more of that than the fragrance. And so it's by general, math, it is going to be a lighter scent and it's not going to last as long because it's not as concentrated with the fragrance. So for instance, in Mary Kay, our Enchanted Wish is an Eau de Toilette. And so it is the least amount of fragrance in there. They tend to be less expensive because they have less of the fragrance, but they're great for those times that you just want something light. You don't want something that's going to last a long time necessarily or going to be very strong. They're really great for that. So that's an Eau de Toilette. And then we have Eau de Parfums, and that is what probably the majority of fragrances are. That's like the middle. That's got, about the middle amount of the actual fragrance in it as opposed to the other parts of the fragrance, the liquid and things like that. And so for instance, this is my personal one that I love the most, the Live Fearlessly, and it's an Eau de Parfum. So those are going to cost a little bit more because that price point is going to be a little bit higher because it's got more of the actual fragrance in it that makes up the fragrance. And then the one with the most concentration of fragrance is an Extrait de fragrance, Extrait de Parfum. I don't know how to speak French very well, but it's basically extract de perfume, if you were saying it like in the English, but it's that extract de parfum is what is the most concentrated. And you can even see, let me hold these up, by the color as well. So okay, I can hold those three. The one in the middle is the Eau de Toilette that has the least amount. This one over here is a Eau de Parfum that has more, and then this is that Extrait de Parfum, and you can see it's got even a much richer color to it because it's got a lot more of that fragrance. And these are the more high-end perfumes that the price point is higher because it's got more of that fragrance in it. And so that's how you can tell when you're looking at fragrances how much concentration of the actual fragrance will be in there, so that if you want a little bit lighter, if it doesn't have to last all day, or if you want something that's going to last all day and everybody could smell for quite a while, or if you want that middle. And a lot of women, have something of each of those so that you've got choices. Call it a fragrance wardrobe for the occasion or what you want. And so I'm going to share with you some of the the scents that are in these three fragrances that I highlighted to give you an idea of the scents that are in them, and then the top note, middle note, bottom note. So the top note is generally what you smell, the scents that you smell initially. The middle note are the ones that after a couple of minutes, that's what you really smell, and those last quite a while. And then that bottom note is the lingering, what lingers of the scent, and that's the one that lasts the longest. And it's that combination of the three that make up the actual scent. And so let's do Enchanted Wish. And so again, this is an Eau de Toilette for women, Enchanted Wish, and it is a fruity floral. So fruity floral means it's got fruity, scents and floral. And so the top notes of Granny Smith apple, so fruit, orange oil Brazil, so fruit, white pineapple, fruit, and candied petals. So there's a little bit of that floral in there. And then the middle notes are stargazer lily, peony, fresh ozone, passion fruit. And so more of that floral coming out. And then the bottom notes, generally the bottom notes are warmer. So it has brown sugar, warm amber, illuminating musk. Those are some of my favorite scents. I love a fragrance that has a lot of those kinds of scents. So that's Enchanted Wish. And so the majority of fragrances will have that top note, middle note, bottom note. And they're different, but it's the makeup of all of them that have the scent. But you're going to catch those top notes first, that middle note after a few minutes, that's going to linger. And then what really lingers are those bottom notes. And so, again, do you like fruity florals? They're not my favorite. Live Fearlessly is an eau de parfum, and this is one of my favorite scents that I wear a lot. And so it's an eau de parfum, so it's got a little bit more of the fragrance scent, so it's a little bit stronger. And it has got more of those warm, what I consider warm scents. So like the musk and the sandalwood and the amber, those kinds of things. So it's got energizing ginger, bold rose, and the warm roasted tonka bean. So top notes of energizing ginger, bold rose in the middle, and then that warm roasted tonka bean for those bottom notes. And so that's why I like it, because I do like more of a floral, and then I like those warmer, like the roasted tonka beans and the sandalwood and the vanilla, those kinds of things. So that's Live Fearlessly, my personal favorite. And then the Illuminea, so this is the Extrait to Parfum. That's got the most concentration of fragrance in it. It is a signature scent for Mary Kay, and it is meant to embody the person of Mary Kay Ash, the lady that started our company. It's got warmth and confidence and the light within, which is what Mary Kay Ash was. She was warm, she had confidence, and she was a shining light. And so that's why it's considered a signature scent. But it's got top notes of mandarin, quince, pink pepper, and morning dew. Middle notes of red apricot, orange blossom, scarlet peony, water lotus, and honeysuckle. Can you see it's got more fragrances in it? Bottom notes of Florentine iris absolute, violet leaves, cashmere woods, vanilla, and white moss. So again, this has the most concentration of fragrance and the most blend of fragrance. That makes sense. And so that's the Illuminea. I wear this one sometimes really for special occasions. It definitely, you can tell it's got more fragrance. It lasts longer than any of the other fragrances. But the Live Fearlessly is my everyday go-to. That's the one I wear the majority of the time. And then men's fragrances. We don't want to forget about the men, right? Men's fragrances are all colognes. There's not, the different levels of them by their names, like the women's fragrances. And we've got several different men's fragrances, but the two that I think are the funnest is Domaine. It is what I consider like the classic men's fragrance, just it smells like men, that classic men's fragrance. It has got top notes of crisp Macintosh and desert sage. Sage, I think, is an ingredient that invokes the thought of a man. Juniper berry and ice mint are the middle notes, and then the bottom notes are black vanilla bean and musk. Musk, I think, also, kind of that scent you think of men, a men's scent. So that's Domain. That one we've had for a long time in the line, and it's like I said, it's really that classic men's fragrance, or what I think of as a classic men's fragrance. And then this is our new one. It's fun. It is True Optimism, and it is a sweeter fragrance. And at first I was like, oh, what does that smell like? I couldn't picture it, but I really like it. It's fresh. It's very fresh. And so the top notes, citrus and sweet fruit. So that sweet smell. Middle are cypress and fresh florals. And the bottom is vetiver. It's a lighter scent, but it's just a lighter, more modern scent. It is sweet, but it smells really good. And so that is our True Optimism. That's a couple of the men's fragrances that I like, but we have like 6 of them. So what did you learn about fragrance, about the way that it has different aspects, those different fragrances, top, middle, bottom notes? What did you learn about the different tips for how to apply it and where to apply it, those kinds of things? And then did you see here's some ingredients that you thought, okay, yeah, I like more fruity ones, or I like more florals, or I like more orientals? Did you figure kind of that out? Did you get an idea of some of the scents that you might like? So I hope that you did. Be sure and put it in the comments. I would love to know what you learned and your thoughts, of course, on the signature, or on the scents that you like, the things that you like to make up your favorite fragrances. And be sure to join me next time for Beauty with Beth, and I will catch you later.